This new moon is asking you to take that leap of faith on yourself. It's basically saying, hey, it's me, the universe. It's your next level. It's your next level income. It's your next level love. Like, we need you to open the door and invite us in, because we're going to rearrange some things. Like, we're going to sit down at this table and we're going to talk about what's working. We're going to identify everything that you've learned, like what's worked for you so far. And we're going to offer you something new. We're going to offer you something lighter. Listen, we're not here, like, the universe isn't here to make you work harder. The universe is here to cut you a deal. They're consolidating all of your loans and saying, hey, like, we're going to take on all of this. We just need you to do this. Can you do this? Can you make this monthly payment? Instead of having all this, and that, can you just make this monthly payment right here? And by the way, doing this, making this monthly payment, this offering allows you to expand in so many other areas of your life. It frees up your income. It frees up your time. It frees up your energy, which then allows you to do more of what you enjoy, spend time with doing more of what you enjoy, and with people that you enjoy doing it with. Like, the universe isn't asking you to sacrifice things that you hold close to your heart. They're asking you to sacrifice old belief patterns, old habits that have been keeping you stuck in this same cycle, kind of like running your tires through the mud. They're not asking you to give up value. They're asking you to give up what has been keeping you from expanding into even more value for yourself. And so when you sit down at this table during this new moon with the universe and you're having a pretty serious conversation, you're not being judged, you're not being reprimanded, you're not being told you're doing this wrong or this isn't enough. You're actually being told, hey, like, you've been doing a little too much of things that you don't need to be doing. So we're going to offer you that. Here's this new plan. Let's put it all out on the table right here. There's no hidden clauses. It's just one piece of paper that slides across the table to you. And we want you to look it over and notice how simple everything is on this list of what it is you need to be doing, how it is you need to be showing up in your life, what it is we're asking you to do now. Look at how simple it is in comparison to what you were doing before. Sign here. That's it. You're making a new commitment to yourself, to your life. And the universe is quite literally laying out in front of you now. Like, you know, if you just take this moment right here to think about, okay, how am I showing up in my life and just doing way too much? Like, in what ways am I overextending or crossing boundaries, and even subtle ways that are subtle energy leaks that are adding up to big things? In what ways am I not respecting myself when it comes to connection and relationship? In what ways am I not respecting my work and honoring my value? In what ways am I finally ready to say, you know what, I am tired. Thank you, universe, for identifying this. You know what, I am tired of working so hard. I don't want to have to do the same. I don't want to have to do that anymore. I'd like to do something different, something I'm being guided to do and called to do that requires me to take this leap of faith. But something that the universe is basically saying to you, take this leap of faith on yourself, step forward and do this, refine these things, make them simpler, do less, and we will give you more. And here's you're kind of looking around like, what do you mean? Like, where's the catch? Where's the hidden clause? Meanwhile, here's this very clear paper in front of you with exactly what it is you need to do written out in front of it. And it's very, very simple. And that's not something that you're familiar with, because your whole life you had to struggle. You were probably raised in a family dynamic that glorified struggle, that glorified self-sacrifice, that glorified not honoring boundaries, that rewarded abandoning yourself. And so those are all like subconscious programming, right? And that translated for you in a lot of different ways that allowed you to survive, that allowed you to find your way, at least receive enough support in your life to keep moving forward. But you're finally at this point where it's like, you know what, I don't think any of that is really me. Like, I don't think I want to sacrifice anymore. I want to honor my boundaries, because that's what makes me feel secure. That's what allows me to trust myself. That's what feels good to my nervous system and allows me to have peace in my mind. That is what this new moon is offering you. This new blueprint, this new commitment that says, hey, you're not supposed to work this hard. Let's consolidate all of this into one. This is the payment you're making, which is much, much, much less than what you were doing before, and will allow you to free up so much time and energy and resources into doing what it actually is that you want to do with your life. You're only being asked to give up the overgiving, the overextending, the self-abandonment, the belief that you need to prove yourself or earn your inheritance, earn love, earn resources and financial abundance. None of that is your truth anymore, and you are simply realizing it during this full moon, new moon. And so if this resonates with you and you are ready to cross over that threshold, I am hosting a new moon ceremony tomorrow evening where we are going to do exactly that together. Comment "I receive" and I will send you the details. And I look forward to guiding you into this beautiful, beautiful portal. Dear soul, before you leave, don't let this moment become just another video you watched. If these words stirred something deep inside your heart, it wasn't by accident. Heaven wanted you to hear them. Right now, place your hand over your heart and declare these words with faith. I am chosen. I am deeply loved. I am not forgotten. God is working behind the scenes for me. My love is divinely guided, and my story is far from over. Say it again, and then say it one more time until every doubt loses its voice and every fear begins to fade. Let these words become the foundation you stand on when life feels uncertain. Remember, what God has spoken over your life cannot be taken away. His promises never fail, even when you cannot yet see them. If this message touched your soul, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who is silently hurting, someone who feels abandoned, someone who has almost given up, believing that God still sees them. Your one share could become the answer to someone else's prayer. You never know whose life God is waiting to change through your simple act of kindness. And if God places it on your heart to help us continue spreading these prophetic messages of hope, faith, and encouragement, you can support this ministry through a super thanks. Whether your gift is $5, $10, $20, or whatever God leads you to give, know that every offering helps carry His message to hearts that desperately need His light. May the Lord bless you beyond anything you could imagine. May He open doors no one can shut, restore what has been broken, answer the prayers you've cried in secret, and fill your home with His peace, His favor, and His unfailing love. Thank you for being part of this growing family of faith. Together, we are reaching hearts, restoring hope, and reminding the world that God's love is still changing lives every single day. They have written you 100 messages and deleted every single one. There is something quietly devastating about a feeling too large to send. Not the absence of feeling. That would be simpler, cleaner, easier to live with. The presence of it. The overwhelming, specific, particular presence of a feeling that sits in someone's chest, like something with weight and temperature and a will of its own, demanding to be expressed while fear keeps standing in the doorway, blocking the exit. This person knows that feeling. They have been living inside it for longer than they would easily admit to anyone, including themselves. They pick up their phone, they open your contact. They start typing carefully, then quickly, then carefully again, the words arranging themselves into something that almost captures it, almost says the thing they've been carrying. And then they read it back, and something in them flinches, not at the words themselves, but at the exposure they represent, at what it would mean to actually send this, to commit to being known in that specific and irreversible way. Delete. 5 minutes later, they pick up the phone again. This has been their private ritual for longer than they would like to count. And what I want you to understand about that ritual, about the composing and the deleting and the putting down of the phone and the picking back up, is that it is one of the most honest things a person can do, because it means the feeling is real enough to keep trying and large enough to keep failing to contain. What they have imagined happening here is where the story becomes both tender and a little heartbreaking. This person has built an entire imaginary conversation in their mind about what reaching out to you might look like. And the version they keep returning to, the one their fear keeps constructing when their hope isn't watching closely enough, does not go well. They imagine you leaving the message unread. They imagine you responding with the particular polite distance that is somehow worse than silence. They imagine you rolling your eyes, not because you are that kind of person, but because fear is not a generous narrator. Fear takes the person you care most about impressing and turns them into the most judgmental possible version of themselves, and then asks you to perform in front of that audience. They have imagined you rejecting them so many times in so many specific scenarios that the imaginary rejection has started to feel like a memory, like something that already happened, like proof of something that hasn't actually been tested. And none of it is real. None of those versions of you that live in their anxious imagination have anything to do with who you actually are. But that is what loving someone and being afraid to tell them looks like from the inside. The mind fills the silence with the worst possible outcome to protect the heart from the vulnerability of hoping for the best. The way they watch you, between the deleted messages and the rehearsed confessions, this person has been watching. Not intrusively, with the particular attentive care of someone who wants to know you without imposing themselves on you. They visit your profile in the quiet hours. They look at your photos with a closeness that goes beyond casual browsing. They are not always the one who likes the post or leaves a comment. Often they simply look. Well, simply take you in from the comfortable distance that social media allows, where you can be witnessed without being noticed. They notice things. Well, the way a particular photo captures something about you that they find irresistible. The way certain things you share remind them of conversations they want to have with you. Well, the way your presence, even digital, even filtered through a screen, still manages to do something to them that no one else's presence manages to do. And when they close the app, you come with them. Well, into the car on the way to work, into the background of unrelated conversations, into the space just before sleep where the unguarded mind settles on what it actually cares about. You are there constantly, specifically, with a persistence that has stopped surprising them because it has simply become the texture of how they experience their own days. Well, why they can feel you feeling them? Here is something worth pausing on because it speaks to the nature of what is actually happening between the two of you, and it goes beyond ordinary longing. Well, it's the songs that remind you of them without apparent reason. The dreams that feel less like sleeping inventions and more like actual encounters. Well, the moments when you think of them out of nowhere, when nothing in the environment has given you a reason to, and the thought arrives fully formed and accompanied by a warmth that has no logical source. Well, these are not coincidences. They are the byproduct of a connection that operates at a level more fundamental than conscious communication. Well, when someone thinks about you with the sustained intensity that this person thinks about you, the energy of that attention is not neutral. It travels. It finds you. Well, it shows up in your experience in the form of that inexplicable pull, the feeling that someone is reaching toward you even when no message has been sent. You have been feeling their presence, and they have been feeling yours. The synchronization between you is real in a way that neither of you may have fully articulated, but both of you have, in some private and honest moment, recognized. The rehearsals they would never admit to. There is something almost unbearably sweet about the lengths to which this person has been going in private. They practice, not just mentally, with a specific physical quality to the rehearsal that speaks to how seriously they are taking this, the right words, the right tone, how to open the conversation without it feeling like too much, but with enough to make the intention clear, how to be brave without being overwhelming, how to say I want to be in your life without making it so large that you feel the pressure of it before you can feel the sincerity of it. They want to get this right. Not because they are calculated, precisely the opposite.
because they are so genuinely, completely uncalculated in how they feel about you that the thought of expressing it badly, of having this one chance to say the true thing and fumbling it, well, is almost more frightening than not saying it at all. Well, almost, but not quite. And the not quite is what is finally, inevitably moving them toward you. Well, the deep realization here is the insight that lives at the center of everything this person is experiencing. And it is one that speaks to something universal about the nature of genuine feeling. Well, the things we are most afraid to say are almost always the most important things we have ever had to say. Well, fear is not a random visitor. It does not attach itself indiscriminately to everything we want. It specifically, surgically targets the things that matter most, the confessions whose rejection would actually cost something, the relationships whose loss would actually leave a mark, the moments of vulnerability whose exposure would actually require something real from us. This person is afraid because what they feel for you is real. The fear is the evidence. And the fact that they keep trying, keep picking up the phone, keep composing the message, keep rehearsing the words, is the evidence of the evidence. It means the feeling is strong enough to keep pressing against the fear, persistent enough to keep trying in the face of the imaginary rejections their anxiety keeps constructing. Something will break eventually, and when it does, it will break in the direction of you. What they carry? The confession that is coming is not just I like you. That would be simple enough. Simple feelings do not produce this level of private preparation and persistent avoidance. What they carry is larger than that. They feel that you have done something to them and for them that goes beyond the ordinary reach of connection. You have made them feel seen in the specific way that very few people are ever seen, recognized, not for what they present, but for what they actually are. Known in a way that doesn't require them to perform or explain or justify. Simply encountered and accepted. That is rare. Genuinely, documentably rare. Most people go through life being known only partially, only conditionally, only in the ways they have chosen to make themselves available to be known. And then occasionally, rarely, in the lucky way that significant things are rare, they encounter someone in whose presence the partial knowing feels insufficient. Where they want to be fully known and found acceptable. Where the risk of being truly seen feels worth taking. You are that person for them, and they are terrified, and they are grateful. And they are preparing in their quiet and private and rehearsal-filled way to finally step across the bridge that has been standing between the two of you. what the first message will look like. Do not expect a declaration, at least not initially. When they reach out, and they will reach out, the words may be small. Hey, I saw this and thought of you. Or a casual question, or something even simpler. The kind of message that requires almost no commitment on the surface and yet carries the weight of everything they have been feeling underneath. The simplicity is intentional. It is both protection and intention at once. Protection against the full exposure of everything they feel, and intention toward opening a door that has been closed long enough. A small gesture with very large feelings behind it. A stone thrown across still water to see if you will throw one back. You, and I want you to sit with this. You are someone they have decided is worth the risk of that stone, worth the fear of the throw, worth the possibility that it might not land the way they hope. That is not nothing. That is actually everything. What they want to give you, beyond the confession itself, beyond the message they are still composing and deleting, there is a vision this person holds of what a life with you would look like. And it is generous in the way that only people who have found someone they actually believe in are generous. They want to spoil you, not to impress you. They have moved past the stage where impressing you is the goal. To express to you in whatever tangible ways they can that they understand your worth. That they have thought about what you deserve and they want to be the one who provides it. Experiences, adventures. The smaller, sweeter things. A walk, a held hand, a moment that belongs to only the two of you. They find you beautiful in ways that extend far beyond the physical. Your mind. The specific way you engage with ideas. The mystery of you, the sense that you are not entirely knowable, that there are depths in you still to be explored. That knowing you is not a destination, but a continuous and endlessly interesting journey. They could listen to you for a lifetime. They have thought about it. The thought does not alarm them. It is, in fact, what they most want. They were about to give up. Here is the thing about timing that is important to understand. This person was close to giving up. Not on you specifically, on the whole enterprise of believing that something real and genuine was still possible for them. They had reached that particular low point where the accumulation of disappointments and near misses and connections that almost were what they needed, but weren't quite, had made the whole thing feel exhausting. And then there was you, arriving without announcement, without the particular dramatic quality of a moment that knows it is significant. Just there, in the ordinary way that the most important things often arrive, looking from the outside like just another day. and something in them woke up that had been very, very close to sleeping for good. That is what you are to them. Not a complication, not a project. An answered prayer that arrived in a form more specific and more genuine than they knew to ask for. The message is coming, the courage is building, the fear is losing, slowly but surely, to the love that refuses to stay quiet any longer. Be ready for a simple message that means everything. And when it arrives, when the phone lights up with those careful, small, enormous words, I hope you will know what you are receiving, not just a message. 100 deleted ones that finally found their way through.